My family bought my home out from under me for my sister's wedding, so I decided to stop being the stable one. I'm currently sitting in a rented SUV in a Target parking lot 3 towns over from where I live because I'm too ashamed to go home, and I think I might have just ruined my sister's life, or maybe she ruined mine years ago and I'm just now sending the bill. My sister, Elena, has always been the miracle of the family. Not in the survived a tragedy way, but in the how does she always land on her feet way. She's 2 years older than me, 32 to my 30, and if my life is a series of carefully calculated spreadsheets and 401k contributions, hers is a watercolor painting left out in the rain. Beautiful, messy, and constantly needing someone to dry it off. The conflict started 3 months ago when Elena announced she was getting married to Marcus. Marcus is fine. He's a visionary who has been developing an app for 4 years while working part-time at a climbing gym. My parents, of course, were ecstatic. They adore Elena's spontaneity. When I got promoted to senior analyst last year, my mom said, "That's nice, honey, you always were the steady one." When Elena announced her engagement to a man with no credit score, my mom cried and offered to give her our grandmother's vintage lace veil. "Sarah," my mom told me over the phone, "you have to be the maid of honor. You're the glue. You know Elena can't handle the logistics." That's been the mantra of my life. Sarah is the glue. Being the glue is exhausting. It means you're the one getting stuck to all the problems while everyone else just looks at the finished craft. I agreed, mostly because saying no to Elena feels like kicking a golden retriever. She called me, sobbing with joy, telling me she couldn't do this without me. And for a while, it was okay. I built the Pinterest boards. I negotiated with the florist. I handled the spreadsheets. I even covered the deposit for the venue because Marcus's crypto portfolio was in a dip. But the tension started simmering about 6 weeks ago. We were at a dress fitting. Elena was looking at herself in this $3,000 gown, which, again, I had put on my card just to hold it, and she turned to me and said, "I'm so glad you're not married yet, Sarah. It makes you so much more available to help me. I don't know what I'd do if you had your own life to worry about." She said it with a smile. She meant it as a compliment. Like my lack of a partner was a convenient feature of my existence designed specifically for her benefit. I just stood there, holding a pins and needles cushion, and felt this tiny, cold crack form in my chest. "I do have a life, Elle," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "I have a job that's currently blowing up, and I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks because I'm busy calling caterers." "I know, and you're a saint," she chirped, turning back to the mirror. "But you're so good at it. You like being in control. It's your thing. Is it? Or is it just that if I don't take control, the car goes off the cliff and I'm the one who has to pay for the tow truck?" The incidents kept piling up. Small things. She'd text me at 2 a.m. asking me to check the weather patterns for an outdoor ceremony in October. She'd forget her wallet every time we went to lunch to discuss the wedding. She lost the guest list 3 times. Then, the first major revelation happened. I was at my parents' house, helping my dad set up his new iPad. He's not tech-savvy, and he'd accidentally synced his messages to the family cloud. A notification popped up from my mom to him. It said, "We need to make sure Sarah doesn't find out about the loan. She's already doing so much, she'll get resentful if she knows we're covering the rest of Elena's debt before the wedding." I froze. I'm the steady one. I'm the one who paid for my own college through scholarships and 3 jobs. I'm the one who bought my own car. I'm the one who, when I hit a rough patch 2 years ago after a breakup, didn't ask for a dime because I didn't want to worry them. I looked through the thread. It wasn't just a small loan. My parents had quietly paid off $40,000 of Elena's credit card debt and student loans so she could start her marriage with a clean slate. The same clean slate I had spent a decade building with blood, sweat, and spreadsheets. I didn't say anything. I felt sick, but I did what I always do, I stayed the glue. I told myself it didn't matter. It's their money. But the glue was starting to feel more like gasoline. 2 weeks ago, everything shifted. I was at Elena's apartment. She was out getting her soul aligned with a shaman, yes, really, and she'd asked me to stop by to meet the photographer because she was running late. The photographer, a nice guy named Leo, was looking for a place to plug in his laptop to show me some sample shots. I told him to use Elena's iMac. As he went to open a folder, a window was already open. It was an email. Not a wedding email. It was an email from an escrow officer. I shouldn't have looked. I know I shouldn't have. But the subject line was closing documents, my address. I live in a condo that I've rented for 5 years. My landlord is an older woman named Mrs. Gable who is currently in assisted living. Her son handles the property. I've been saving for a down payment to buy it from them when they're ready to sell. It was a verbal agreement we had. I clicked the email. Elena and Marcus weren't just getting married. They were buying my condo. My parents had given them the down payment. The clean slate money wasn't just debt relief, it was an investment. Elena had gone behind my back, talked to the son, who she went to high school with, and convinced him to sell to her instead of me. The email contained a draft of a notice to vacate for the current tenant. That's me. I was being evicted by my own sister so she could have the perfect starter home that I had spent 5 years maintaining. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I felt this weird, terrifying calm wash over me. I thanked the photographer, told him the shots looked great, and waited for Elena to come home. When she walked in, smelling like sage and expensive tea, she beamed at me. Did Leo show you the mock-ups? I want the lighting to be very ethereal forest, you know? The condo, Elle? I asked. My voice was a flat line. She stopped. Her face didn't even go pale, she just went into defense mode. It's a specific look she gets, the innocent victim eyes. Oh, Sarah. I was going to tell you. We wanted it to be a surprise. We're going to be your landlords. Well, for a month, until we move in. But we're going to give you so much time to find a new place. It's a win-win. You get to move to a nicer area, and we get a home. A win-win? I whispered. I've been saving for that place for 5 years. You knew that. Mom and Dad knew that. But you're so successful, she said, and there it was, that weaponized praise. You can afford anything, Sarah. Marcus and I are struggling. We need the help. Don't be selfish. It's just a building. The next 10 days were a blur of cold, calculated fury. I didn't blow up. I didn't cancel the wedding. Instead, I did the most Sarah thing possible. I stayed the maid of honor. I finished the spreadsheets. I confirmed the vendors. But I stopped paying. I called the florist. Hi, this is the maid of honor. There's been a change in the billing. My card is no longer on file. Please contact the bride directly for the remaining $2,000. Yes, today. I did the same with the caterer. The DJ. The venue. I didn't tell her. I just let the glue dissolve. My phone started blowing up 3 days ago. Elena, 10:14 a.m. Sarah, the florist just called? They said the payment declined? Fix it please. Elena, 11:30 a.m. Sarah? The venue says we're overdue. I'm panicking. Mom, 1 p.m. Sarah, honey, what's going on? Elena is a wreck. Why aren't you answering? I didn't answer because I was busy. I was busy finding a new apartment. And I was busy doing something else. See, as the maid of honor and the logistics person, I had access to everything. Including Marcus's app development files, which he'd asked me to look over for formatting because he knew I was good at tech. While looking through his files, I found a folder labeled personal. In it, there wasn't just crypto stuff. There were messages. Marcus wasn't just a jobless visionary, he was a serial cheater. There were dozens of threads on dating apps, photos, and even a secret bank account where he was funneling the loan money my parents had given Elena to pay for his own debts, and a few gifts for other women. The climax happened last night, at the rehearsal dinner. It was a beautiful setup. My parents had spent a fortune on the dinner alone. Everyone was there. Elena was glowing, wearing white, acting like the queen of the world. She pulled me aside in the bathroom, her eyes red. How could you do that with the payments, Sarah, she hissed. You embarrassed me. I had to beg Mom and Dad to dip into their retirement. You almost ruined everything. I didn't do anything, Elle, I said, looking at her in the mirror. I just stopped doing everything. There's a difference. You're just jealous, she spat. You're 30 and alone and you can't stand that I'm getting the life you wanted. You think you're better than me because you're responsible, but you're just bitter. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I realized I didn't hate her. I pitied her. She was a house of cards, and she was about to find out that the wind was coming. I'm not bitter, Elle, I said. I'm finished. I walked out to the podium. It was time for the sister of the bride toast. My mom was beaming. My dad had a tear in his eye. Marcus was sitting there, looking smug in his suit. Everyone, I said, my voice echoing through the restaurant. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what to say tonight. People always call me the glue of this family. And for a long time I took pride in that. I thought it meant I was loved. But I realized recently that glue is only needed when something is broken. The room went quiet. The wedding planner smile on Elena's face began to falter. I spent the last few months making sure this wedding was perfect. I paid the deposits, I picked the flowers, I handled the drama, and in return, my sister and my parents decided to buy my home out from under me as a surprise. Because I'm the steady one. Because I can handle it. A collective gasp. My mom's face went white. But the thing about being the steady one, I continued, is that I'm also the one who notices things. Like Marcus's secret bank accounts. Or the fact that he's been seeing a girl named Tiffany from his gym for the last 6 months. I pulled out my phone. I didn't have to do much. I had printed out the bank statements and the messages. I didn't hand them out like flyers, that would be too much. I just laid them on the head table in front of my father. I'm not the glue anymore, I said. I'm the solvent. I walked out. The last 24 hours have been a nightmare. The wedding is off. Marcus fled the restaurant. Elena had a literal nervous breakdown and is currently at my parents' house, screaming that I ruined her life. My mom has called me 42 times, ranging from screaming at me for being cruel to begging me to come back and help fix this. Help fix this. Even now, she wants me to be the glue. But here's the thing, the part that makes me feel like the villain. I didn't do it to save Elena. If I wanted to save her, I would have shown her those messages in private weeks ago. I would have handled it the Sarah way. I waited. I waited until the rehearsal dinner. I waited until the maximum amount of money had been spent, the maximum amount of people were watching, and the maximum amount of damage could be done. I didn't just want to stop the wedding. I wanted to burn the house down so they'd stop asking me to fix the roof. I feel hollow. I'm staying in a hotel. I blocked Marcus, and I've muted the family group chat. I found a new apartment, a better one, actually, and I have enough saved to move in next week. But I'm sitting here in this Target parking lot, looking at a pack of paper plates and a new toaster, and I'm realizing that for the first time in my life, nobody is calling me to ask where the guest list is. Nobody is asking me to pay for the cake. I'm finally not the glue. But I'm also not sure what's left of me now that I'm not holding everything else together. I think I might be a terrible person. Or maybe I'm just a person who finally ran out of stickiness. Elena texted me an hour ago, just one line, I hope the condo was worth it. The irony? I don't even want the condo anymore. I just wanted them to see me. And they did. They finally saw exactly what happens when the steady one decides to let go. I'm going to go buy some overpriced throw pillows now. Maybe a candle. Something that serves no purpose other than to look nice and exist. Was I the asshole for waiting until the dinner to reveal everything, or did I just finally give them the spontaneity they always praised my sister for?